Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to WrestleRage Radio. Another week is done in the wrestling world. My name is Stan Grubb. This is Fast Eddie Layne joining us this evening. Corey's on his way. He is, a couple minutes out, apparently. But we're happy to have everybody here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network, right here on BeyondRingside.com, and, of course, Beyond Ringside's radio app through Google Play and also through Amazon and BlackBerry. Man, it took me a minute to remember all of that.
It takes me a while too.
You can also catch us on, I believe you've got our iHeartRadio and, was it Stitcher? Still on Stitcher?
Now, the current broadcast lineup for all the way across the board is you can catch us on Shoutcast, WinAmp, the Beyond Ringside Radio app, BeyondRingside.com, and Ustream.
And judging from the sounds of the active bull on the other end of the phone, sounds like Corey is joining us.
Man, I fell asleep while sitting here watching the damn movie, and I was like, oh, wait. Oh, it's Sunday night. Time for WrestleRage.
That's okay. We won't blame you yet.
Wait. You ate the Snickers bar, didn't you?
I did. I'm a little rageless. I'm just, a little mild manner SmarkRage. Just, sitting there watching Draft Day, watching
Well, that'll put anybody to sleep. Draft
Kevin Costner be his little mealy mouth self.
Well, let's go ahead and start hot out of the gates with news that
Drool
just broke
everywhere.
Yeah, nobody cares. Nobody cares. We're not listening to you. Hot out of the gate, news hot off the press, just this week, broke by Dave Meltzer of The Observer. Can you believe it? Dave Meltzer actually broke a headline.
Who?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, wait, I got a text message from you. Where the hell? Oh, my bad. Sorry, but I was sleeping. Sorry.
Okay. I'll give you 2 more strikes, and then at the 3rd strike, we'll just cut you off.
Sorry, pal.
So, Destination America has made the decision going forward this fall. They are not going to be airing Impact Wrestling.
Sucks.
So, for at least 1/3 of us, I know we're greatly disappointed.
Sucks.
Oh, wait, you said Impact Wrestling, right? Oh, man. You know what? They have canceled it. They have decided not to show it. Pretty ballsy move. They've been on Destination America less than a year, and they've already have not been renewed. Wow. First they lose Samoa Joe to NXT.
Now, wait a minute. That's not how that went down.
They lost Samoa Joe to NXT.
No, they let Samoa Joe go. He went to free agency, and then he went to NXT. They didn't lose him to WWE. It wasn't a bidding war.
Yeah, but, they could have had him back, though.
They
But
could have had Jay Styles back, too. No, I don't. Why don't you fill me in?
No, I'm
Come on there, insider.
I just think Dixie, Mrs. Cotta, has fucked the finish once again.
Wow. 3 minutes in. 3 minutes. I think that's a new record.
So, what do you think? Fast Eddie, Mr. 1984?
Disappointing. Because effectively now that means there is no confidence left in anybody in the number two company.
And we're sitting here picking fun at TNA. You hate to see them lose their contract because that means that the knockouts, the guys, lose their job, and it legitimately puts people out of business. And
Okay,
that really sucks.
wait. I gotta wave the flag. Hold on. Flag on the play. 15 yards. You're not broken up about them going out of business, and neither am I, really. So why would we want to pretend?
I'm rageless. Maybe I am broken up. Maybe I'm bleeding, and
Oh, please don't do that.
Maybe I spent the day at the pool party today. I don't know.
What's that got to do with anything?
You
make no sense.
He ate the Snickers
Do you realize
bar.
you're alive on the air? There's people that worldwide can hear you.
worldwide. We're pretty over
prestige, worldwide.
In England, we're pretty over in India.
Hey, they love us everywhere in the world.
Yeah, we're pretty over in Bangladesh.
Bangladesh.
Hey, Mop.
Yeah, I hear we do well in Mississippi, too.
Well,
All of us but Corey.
Yeah, it's too close to where he lives. They know him.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks for the wrestlers that lose their job. That's awful. Because at this point, the indie scene is full of top-notch talents, and NXT is snatching them up as fast as they can.
You said snatch. Jesus wouldn't accept that, would he?
That's strike two. Here we go. I would say that it's going to be at least a year and a half before any TNA talents get picked up by NXT. What do you guys think?
I think the only talent really that's going to go is Bobby Roode.
That's it. Out of that whole roster, James Storm, Austin Aries, Eric Young, MVP could come back.
MVP's 41.
So?
I mean, Rhino came back.
Yeah, Rhino's working a limited schedule in NXT. He's down there putting guys over.
Oh, jeez. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the part of the show where Corey tells us all about what he knows and doesn't really know.
I'm just telling you, brother.
Yeah, you're telling us, but you're not telling us anything. So let me just ask Eddie. Eddie, what do you think?
There's a number of people on the roster at TNA right now that would work effectively well on the main roster, and some that I would keep on at the NXT level. Eric Young, I do believe, would be perfect on the NXT level, but I don't know how well he would translate to the main roster in his current packaging. Now, go back to the Eric Young that, just before the beard and everything else came out, the obvious Daniel Bryan ripoff, which is what a lot of people are saying, not just me. But the fact of the matter is, Eric Young has great talent, but he's not part of that Vince McMahon mold. Triple H could definitely put him to he's a great hand. And I would definitely put Eric Young at NXT at the drop of a hat. Bobby Roode, I think Bobby Roode, James Storm, bring back Beer Money would make a great addition to the tag team roster. I think they could absolutely steal the show. Bobby Roode and Austin Aries could steal the show. But Austin Aries, once again, he's not that typical Vince McMahon type. I mean, they do bring in every once in a while somebody of a more diminutive stature, and I'm saying that being 5'8". But I think that at this point, the Lucha Dragons are the shortest that you are going to see on the roster for other than the J&J security crap. But yeah,
I mean, you don't want to forget the Tough Enough scandal with Austin Aries as well. When
True.
He did Tough Enough last, he was turned down.
Yeah. And lo and behold, I don't think Austin Aries genuinely needed Tough Enough. Austin Aries is probably one of the best talents in the world today. The man can carry a match, can carry a crowd, and can carry a storyline. There is nothing else you can ask of him for that.
Does this open the door for GFW? Does GFW have a chance now?
Only if they actively run a show.
I will say this. I did research their website. They do have a road tour planned, and it is coming through Virginia, so we may end up giving that a shot end of June, early July.
I don't know. Maybe if you get your wife to get the permission slip signed right now after the show's out on there, maybe you get to go.
Okay, even if I don't go, I mean, you've still got the opportunity there for them to be touring, which is more than what TNA was doing.
Well, I just honestly, I just really think that it just shows the piss poor knowledge that Dixie Carter has for the wrestling business.
I'd agree with you on that. I mean, she's made some pretty poor decisions.
Yeah, bringing in Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff and Vince Russo.
All right, but I mean, that's only a couple years. That's not the entirety of the issue.
That's when they screwed the pooch and jumped the shark.
Okay, that's part of it, but what happens after?
Fans gave up.
So did she.
She should have never been an on-camera character to begin with.
I mean, she did sign Booker T, Christian Cage, Mick Foley, Kurt Angle, who, by the way, was a good signing. Kurt Angle was. But, I mean, we're talking all former WWE cast-offs. D'Lo Brown, which wasn't a bad signing.
No, that was a good signing.
But these are all people that, before
the Dudley Boys.
Did she sign D-Lo or B-Lo?
B-Lo is the DX version. Okay, thanks, Corey. Wow, that should be strike 3. We're not even at 9:30, and you're awful. Just awful. Almost as awful as the potential for Tammy Sitch being in porn.
No, not that bad. She actually could make porn. I didn't say good porn.
You know, a dead dog could do that, but that doesn't mean it's going to be good.
I didn't say good porn. I just said porn.
Hey, porn's porn, nut's a nut.
That's nasty.
That's just bad, Corey.
So, I mean, has it gone that bad for her? Has it gone that south where that's the only option she's got left?
Yeah, it has. You know, them bringing in Billy Corrigan, I think, is a joke in itself.
Really?
Yes.
You do realize Resistance Pro is a huge following, right?
You realize that he's no longer part of Resistance Pro, and he was forced out.
He owns it. He owns it still. It's still his company.
That's not what the internet says.
Well, between you and the internet, I mean, how do we go wrong?
So Corey does believe everything Grumpy Cat says, too.
Well, between him and Dave Meltzer, I think Corey's got the inside track.
Oh, wait a second.
Meow!
Hold on a second. Wait. We got it. The VIP line. Thank you for calling WrestleRage. Who is this? Meow. I'm Grumpy Cat. Go away. Okay. I just hung up on Grumpy Cat.
That's a good bit. We should do that next time.
No, let's not.
Folks, and we are live WrestleRage Radio on BeyondRingside.com.
Wow. And Corey is still waking up from his slumber. Big shout out to Bambi Weevil for Masters of the Ring Entertainment having a very successful show last night with Just Cause Pro Wrestling doing their tournament, and also having Trish Stratus, Lita, Terry Reynolds, Lisa Marie Baran, and Lisa Moretti, better known as Victoria and Ivory.
You forgot Avon.
You know, that's something I could get behind.
Yeah, I bet.
Just saying. I get behind all those women.
That would last maybe about 3 seconds before the court order is signed.
I was going to say, legally, he's not allowed to do it anymore.
Well, you know.
Yeah, he's got to be careful on Twitter, too, because of the court order.
Well, you know, just make a fake account. Call me El Pepe SmarkRage Marone.
Okay.
Marone.
Where's Marone from?
I don't know. But it's good to be back on the air, boys.
Oh, gosh. What have you been doing with your time, Corey?
I have been... I've been at work. Been bailing out people.
So you finally got your internet back. Have you watched Unstoppable yet?
No, because I just got it back Friday night.
Okay, you suck. You're fired. You should just go on to the McDonald's and ask them if you can make Happy Meals.
I'm going to throw this one at the two of you. On the front page of WWE.com today, one of the rotating stories is the interview done or conducted with the UFC badass Ronda Rousey, women's strawweight champion. And Ronda talks about her experience having been at a couple of WWE shows, been backstage with Steph and everybody else, and whether or not they might just see her in a WWE ring. Now, I'm not going to elaborate on what all the interview did say and didn't say. I'm just going to say drop by WWE.com and check it out for yourself. Formulate your own conclusions. Do you personally think, gentlemen, that adding someone like Ronda Rousey in a celebrity role in ring would be a viable and lucrative idea? SmarkRage.
Oh.
I'm going go Stan.
Wow, thanks, Corey. Yeah, I mean, it's money. It's got dollar bills written all over it. Huge draw, first off. Secondly, when you look at it, the way the exposure she has, there's just no way. There's no way in the world that she could ever be, in a position like that and not make money for both herself but also the company. She's a draw. She's appealing to both men and women, UFC fans, WWE fans. Her interaction with Stephanie at Mania was phenomenal. The fact that it went from SummerSlam, where she was celebrating with Stephanie, to Mania, where she was against her, shows that she's got the capability of going both directions. So that's great. And I think it would be silly for anyone to say that that's not going to happen. Matter of fact, I bet it probably happens by SummerSlam.
Corey.
You guys are just going to have to go on without me. Just saying.
Okay, I'll be watching production chat. Let us know when you get back. See, I'm inclined to agree 100% on this one because I think Rousey would be a great addition in a one-shot wonder. I really don't think that they could do that much with her on a long-term basis because of the fact that she's still signed with the UFC. And I'm going to go ahead and launch this one into play right now. You can no longer convince me that there is not something going on between Vince McMahon and Dana White, or at least Triple H and Dana White. Because the factor of Dana didn't seem to have a problem in the least allowing his strawweight champion to show up on WWE programming and get into the ring. And yet, go ahead.
When you look at Rousey, though, she has just an appeal overall. I mean, even if she wasn't champion, the fact of who she is and her charisma that she has, it stands out. I mean, she's a star. She's already made, so it's definitely a benefit.
I think that Rousey, in and of herself, has the potential. See, okay, here, let me stop what I'm about to say, because I'm going to throw this one in there. And I've said this before on previous episodes here, shows here on the Beyond Ringside family of shows, and I'm just going to throw this one out there like this. People are starting to look at her in the same capacity as they looked at Mike Tyson. Can anyone...
She's better than Tyson.
Hold on, because remember, there were some short-time knockouts that Tyson rung up.
And I'm telling you that if the two of them ever were to stand toe-to-toe, she would probably rock Tyson's world.
In Tyson in his prime, as long as he could maintain a boxer's defense and keep her at bay, he would have the advantage. The second,
he's not fast enough. At his prime, he wouldn't have been fast enough. She's too fast.
The second that she was able to penetrate his guard, it's over.
Nice.
It's over. There would be a huge... Well, I don't know if there'd be a tap out, but there'd be a stoppage. Because I don't think Mike Tyson is the type of person in his prime to submit.
I've already tapped out to Ronda Rousey.
I mean, if he's able to keep her in a corner so she can't get away, possibly. Right. But her speed... just in general, her speed, there's no way. He wouldn't be able to keep up. I mean, he was pretty fast in his prime, but we're talking from a reach perspective for her. For him, yeah, he'd be able to do it.
Are you back, Corey?
Not really, but go ahead.
Okay, I was asking your perspective.
What are you doing?
Wait a minute, you chimed in a second ago, but I said put it in production chat, and you never did. Well, hold that thought. Yep, we just lost him.
Is he going?
Yes.
Oh, jeez, what is he doing?
I have no idea. I really have no idea.
Guess it's my turn.
Go with it.
I mean, it would be an interesting pitch to see a fight like that. You know, just if we're dream booking, because it would be interesting to see how the two would coexist. But I'd be certainly interested. My interest would be piqued on that just to see if he's able to keep her from getting him wrapped up in a pretzel.
Just got a message from him. I just found out what's going on. It's cool.
Okay.
Duty calls.
Gotcha.
D-U, not D-O-O.
Thanks for that.
Not a problem. And coming back to TNA for a second, let me go ahead and bring this one back up into play. There are people who have become very disgruntled because of what they've seen on WWE programming. They've become disgruntled because of what they saw on TNA programming. There are people who still have not forgiven TNA because of all the everything that happened with Dixie Carter trying to be Stephanie McMahon.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if Dixie was all on board with that concept or not, or I don't know if she was actually trying to fight it, kicking and screaming, going, this is not a good idea. And whoever really came up with that idea should be shot. They should be taken out behind the building to this day and just pistol whipped, and then shot, and then buried, and then set on fire, and then buried again. I'm sorry, it was bad. There were no genuine redeeming qualities to any storyline involving Dixie Carter being the focal point of it, because she's not good on television. She is good in a cameo role. Let her be the president of the company. Don't let her be the authority figure. And a lot of people did not forgive. A lot of people have not forgiven TNA to this day for letting that happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think that still resonates, but I think a majority of the reason people disconnected with the product was because TNA let go of everything that set themselves aside from every other company.
And that was Hulk Hogan's fault.
It is Hogan and Bischoff's fault for the 4-sided ring coming back into 6-sided going away. You can certainly attribute that to that, but at the end of the day, it does fall on Dixie.
Okay, but by the same token, and she has just listened to the wrong people ever since Jeff Jarrett has left. I had high
that was
hopes.
the biggest mistake she had made, was letting that happen.
Yeah, I know. Well, no, they let Dutch Mantell go. They let Jeff Jarrett go. They let Cornette get away. And granted the fact, you're going to have people go, man, it's like, I'm just going to go ahead and do the Hogan thing and go, brother, they got old ideas. We can come in and give you some new blood. No, Hogan is tired old blood. Hogan may be under a Legends contract of Vince McMahon right now, but you see how often he gets used. And it's not in ring. Nobody, I'm just going to come back for this one. When it was Hogan and Flair, and they were constantly bleeding all over the place like a 13-year-old virgin. Dude, really? No.
I mean, it's a tough call.
They made so many critical mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
But, and here's the thing about it. I watched it because I wanted to, not because I run a wrestling radio show. I watched it because I knew sooner or later they would come back to the action. And they had some remarkable talent. Look, the wedding scene with Bully Ray and Brooke Hogan. Oh, really now? Billy and Chuck was more entertaining than that.
I don't know if it was even counting as entertaining, but okay.
Look, I don't know who genuinely scores a lower IQ run. Brooke Hogan or Lacey Von Erich?
Yeah, we're both pretty bad.
Yeah. Lacey Von Erich was beautiful to look at.
True.
Crap in the ring. True or false?
Also true.
Okay.
Also true.
Okay. And almost as bad on the microphone.
I don't remember her on the microphone.
She was that memorable.
Wow. Okay. Well, you say it happened, it happened.
It happened. Because remember, she was supposed to be part of the Beautiful People for a minute? And that just did not go well. It really didn't. But this is the thing about it. And I know I said, if you've been listening today and you listened during BR, I would rather build up what I love than tear down what I hate. I'm being honest here. I'm not shredding anything more so than I normally do. And I'm not really trying to tear down anything. Mm-hmm. Because I'm going to come back and say this. In the latter days of the Spike TV run and during the entire, for the most part, during the entire Destination America run, they have put some damn good matches in the ring, and I mean long-form matches, not just quickies. They've had your 4 or 5 minute quickies. They've had your 20, 25 minute gold matches. TNA has been trying to do it right. Mm-hmm. But when you have fans who watch that product, I remember watching the 2-hour pay-per-views for $9.99 on Wednesday night when TNA was first getting started. And then what it became. And now back to what it is. It's not as good now. Sorry. I apologize for those I'm pissing off. It is not as good now as it was during those original days. But it is damn sure better than it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, but the sad thing is that's just not enough in today's world. In the business world, that just isn't enough. They've got to be able to step up to the plate, do the right things. And Dixie needs to take responsibility for the fact that she wasn't paying her people. I know that business happens and things happen as far as expenses, but when you can't pay your people and that gets released to the public,
Yeah.
that's bad. And that's really what happened to her. I mean, it's not to say that the product was poor as far as the product in ring, because I think we all agree that the wrestling there was probably top notch. It's more related to business decisions. And when you have a non-wrestling personality in charge of business, that's what happens.
If people look at what is going on with Ring of Honor, and the reason why people rave about Ring of Honor, they concentrate more on the in-ring action than they do on the behind-the-scenes drama in the office and all the other stuff.
Right.
They allowed their announce team to call a match and build the storylines. Lucha Underground, they have their cutaway segments to where they're going back to the locker room or back to Dario Cueto's office. And I think Dario Cueto is Eric Bischoff on steroids.
Yeah, but they've got that formula down. They're going to end up getting, elevated off of El Rey. I'm telling you, that company has such huge potential.
You're right, it does. But see, here's the thing, and this is something that I popped for like a big dog, but I also went really at the same time. And I brought this up on BR. Angelico, the dive the dive that he did 4 weeks ago on LU.
Yeah, from the top of the office. That was so cool.
That was a thing of beauty. They recreated that this week into the form of a drop kick to one of the crew on a ladder during.
I saw it.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it was awesome, but it was too soon. In my heart, I say it was too soon, because if you start putting it out there once a month, people are going to say, "Where is it at?"
I mean, that's what they did with Jeff Hardy.
And the novelties, well, no, thing about it is he did the same thing. First was the crossbody off that 12-foot office, or whatever, 10-foot, 12-foot. I thought it was 12. Could be 10. But by the same token, to do that this time, same approach pattern, but in the form of a drop kick. Huge pop. Loved it. Greatly appreciative of it. But I thought it was too soon. That should be something that should be saved for one of the biggest platforms that they have. I don't know what that platform is yet, though. But I don't think that they should continually run it once a month or once every taping of Lucha Underground. It's going to get old. Agree or disagree?
I mean, I'm not really sure on that. I think that the more that Lucha Underground gets a footing for what they're doing and continues to develop their brand, I think they stand a better chance of being successful in the long run. And they've got the right roster. They're doing it right as far as growth. I think in that style, you're going to see high spots get, what's the word?
Overused?
Yeah, oversaturated, I guess. You're going to see that happen, but I don't think there's any way of getting away from that because Lucha Libre is a high spot.
Well,
it's also good wrestling, but yeah, it's definitely a high spot.
Well, what they've done to this point. Yeah, I mean, I'm rewatching right now the trios ladder match between Angelico, Son of Havoc, and Ivelisse, who comes down eventually, and the crew. And Dario Cueto just completely and totally destroyed me with the facial expression that he had when I believe it might have been Bale went flying into his office through the window. Because he was on the phone, and it's like, Cueto plays the facial expressions as well as Vince McMahon. I give credit where credit is due on that one. But to keep everything in play, I worry about seeing the same thing. I believe that, and they do this in Lucha, they do it in Japan, we do it to a degree here domestically. I believe that there are certain high spots that should not be done on a regular basis. I believe that if it's kept in the proper context of telling the story of the match, it serves a purpose and it's a beautiful thing.
I agree. I mean, there's definitely a fine line, but I don't know that with what the product that they're putting out there, if it really needs to be followed. I mean, you don't have to if you're able to keep it different and keep it, original, which they are.
Yeah.
You really don't have to follow those same rules. I mean, TNA didn't have to when they were doing it right.
Tell you what, go ahead and take us to the bottom of the hour.
All right. Well, we're heading into our break of the evening here. When we come back, we'll continue our discussion about TNA's supposed downfall, Lucha Underground's uprising, and we'll talk a little bit about NXT and Samoa Joe. We'll be right back here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network on BeyondRingside.com. Welcome back, everybody, to WrestleRage Radio, right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network on BeyondRingside.com. It's myself, Stan Grubb, Fast Eddie Layne, joining me this evening. Corey had to step away. He will attempt to come back if he's got the opportunity. Running a quick hour of hard-hitting, action-packed programming tonight. We were talking about TNA. We were talking about Lucha Underground and some of the exciting things that have been happening and some of the sad things that have been happening for TNA. Kind of switching away from the TNA topic, though, getting into Lucha Underground with what they've been doing. One of the awesome things that we've seen is the stepping up of multiple different players. And when we talk about the different players as far as their roster's concerned, how about Alberto Del Rio? I mean, from my perspective, I think he's really stepped up and improved.
Alberto El Patron?
Right, El Patron. When guys leave the WWE, I don't know what it is, but they don't put their heads on straight about thinking about a replacement name. Just saying.
Alberto the Boss. That's how it translates. Albert's the boss.
Yeah, and it still sounds bad. Just saying.
And see, here's the thing about it. Because of the factor of the attachment that we make to individuals in the world of pro wrestling or in sports in general, because of the factor that when Kevin Steen was picked up by NXT, there are still people, myself included, as he throws his hand up in the air like he's back in third grade, that will inadvertently still say, kill Steen, kill, not fight Steen, or fight Owens, fight.
I thought Fight Owens Fight, doing the Kevin Owens bit was brilliant. I think that he deserves a show of respect for being willing to make that one work.
He does. I have said this when there was the entity known as Alberto Del Rio.
Del Bio.
I will say it again for Alberto El Patron. He has come a little bit. He has come a little ways. He's still a one-trick pony. I'm sorry. He is just... I don't find him to be that... when it comes to in-ring. He is good on a microphone. He is good in-ring. But he is extraordinarily one-dimensional for the way that he works to the American cameras. And he may be totally different down at AAA. But by the same token... a lot of it has to do with the factor of the way the WWE formula corrals somebody. The way that they want people to work there. And once you get that ingrained in your psyche, it's hard to let it go. You understand the basic concept of the formula for the match that they want you to work one way or the other, style A, B, C, or D, depending. And when you leave the E, you're still stuck in that trap. Because for as much as you want to get back to doing what you did before you went to the E,
it was what you did before though that got you noticed in the first place. And,
correct.
And I think they forget that because the longer that they're in the E, the harder it is for them to get back to what they had. Most times because they've just gotten older.
Yeah, because let me give you the perfect example. The person who exemplifies that more than anything else is Chris Jericho.
Or Kurt Angle.
No, Angle opened back up a little bit over the last couple of years since he's been long removed.
I mean, I'll give you a little bit of that, but I also have to point out the fact that he's still basically doing the same 4 spots. He has slowed down considerably.
So does John
versus
Cena.
What he was doing. Yeah, but John Cena's same 4 spots make them millions of dollars every single week.
John Morrison.
Morrison?
Chavo Guerrero, Morrison, didn't matter.
Chavo has always been kind of bland, in my opinion. even in his WCW days, did like his feud with Eddie. I thought that was great, but I always found him to be kind of bland. Not to say that he's not a good wrestler or a good hand, but no, I do think that he's a pretty bland performer, in my opinion. I'll give you credit on that, though, as far as pointing out Chris Jericho, because Jericho certainly, he's not like past his prime. I mean, I still think he's one of the top performers in the game, but at the same time, I would say you're right. I mean, he certainly has gotten to a point now where it's almost like he doesn't want to accept that there's a certain person that he is now. And I get that. He wants to be different and work with different guys, but just because you work with different guys doesn't mean you're doing anything different in the ring. It's all the same basic story. You just got to tell it right.
Right. You got to tell the story properly. And because remember, I started watching Jericho in Extreme Championship Wrestling and then WCW and then up to the E. And Jericho in the E year 1 was totally different from the E year 4. By that time, he had gone into that formulaic base, what a lot of people call the Double H formula, because Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair were the ultimate masters at working a type of match.
Oh, yeah, and they made it work for just about anybody they were in the ring with.
Yeah.
And it made money. So, I mean, why argue with it?
And I'm just, the way that I look at things is just, it's a unique perspective, because I try to keep an optimistic base. Because of the fact that I do work on, I work with a couple of different promotions, and it depends on which company I work with as to what I do. Am I in-ring talent anymore? No. Father Time and I have had a nice little discussion about that, and Father Time won. And that's the truth. Lily Tomlin, Rowan Martin's laughing. If you don't know it, look it up. But, yeah, you get into a methodology when you work for the E, because here comes your phrase. Work smarter, not harder. You can work...
I mean, that's the way it ought to be done.
Well, you can also... And Belize is getting rain right now. Weather Channel. You can make it look like you're doing 100 things, but at the same time, you're only doing 1 or 2. And that is a beautiful thing if you can pull this off. But not everybody can.
Sorry, I was explaining something to my daughter. She's just explaining something as far as relation from Inglourious Bastards to Doctor Who.
Oh! Big difference.
They watched an episode where they arrived in 1941. It's called The Doctor Dances, but it's basically World War II. And they're trying to figure out how Inglourious Bastards ties in, because they're watching it on Netflix. And I said, well, basically, it's because it's all related to the same war.
Right.
So, well, that's how it goes.
Logical progression.
Exactly.
I was doing some reading real quick, and it kind of threw me off the fact that one of the all-time greats of comedy, Ann Mira, passed away at the age of 85. Of course, she was also, a lot of people remember the fact that she's one half of the legendary combination of Stiller and Mira, where her husband, Jerry, would normally, of course, get top billing. The two of them, like I said, did everything from late vaudeville to stand-up radio, movies, television. They were regulars on the game show circuit, especially Ann. And it's just a huge loss for the entertainment world with the passing of, in my book, one of the all-time greats, which I'm going to throw you a curveball.
Uh-oh, not a curveball.
And I meant to do this today during BR because I think listening to Wick on this one would have been priceless. And over the last couple of days, somebody has been, I have been watching over the last couple of days some of the vintage Dean Martin celebrity roasts.
Mm-hmm.
And let me give you the perfect synopsis and comparison on how pro wrestling is paralleling something like the Dean Martin, or what was called the Friars Club roast, or the Dean Martin celebrity roast.
Mm-hmm.
In the 70s, 80s, and early 90s, there was a huge respect for professional wrestling, not just by the people outside who watched it, but the people who were inside and participated in it. We understood and I can speak from 1985 on, especially. Mm-hmm. And, like I said, first match, I'm not going to count training time. But even in training, you have to have and understand and cultivate a respect for it.
Right.
you went out, you bought boots, you bought gear, you bought pads, you bought trunks, you bought cups, you bought jackets, whatever, wristbands, shoulder bands, whatever, bicep bands. They were starting to come into vogue in the mid-'80s. You took pride in what you wore to the ring. It didn't matter if you were an 0-50 jobber or the champion of a company. I say the same thing. I say that to say this about the Dean Martin celebrity roasts. The men showed up in tuxedos and most of the women showed up in evening gowns unless they were showing up in character for a comedy bit.
Right.
But yet,
I think there's a lot of that professionalism that's just missing.
That's because a lot of the respect for what we're doing has gone the way of the yellow speckled dodo bird.
Yeah, I'd agree, and I think that there's a lot of the fan base that has kind of changed horses in the middle of the race, so to speak.
And then you look at some of the roasts that have taken place on Comedy Central.
Mm-hmm.
You look like most of the people who are comedians on there who are doing the roasting look like they were pulled out of a mission, a homeless shelter, underneath a causeway, underneath a bridge. They don't look like stars. They look like trailer park trash. And that's really being insulting to trailer park trash, and I'm sorry.
That's how they enjoy carrying themselves at this.
There's that R word again. It's called a lack of respect, dude.
Agreed. I completely agree with you.
Because I don't bring this up very often on BR, but I'll bring it up right now. I'm going to ask you point blank. Have you ever really paid attention to TBW trash bag wrestlers?
No, and because I personally think that they're just trying to get their names out there because of wrestling. They don't care about who's good and who's bad.
They don't care about who's good and who's bad. They care about the way these people package and present themselves.
But that's not their say-so. It's like a fan walking into a backstage meeting saying, "No, I think you should end with this match."
And trust me, I think the people who run TBW are actually in the business. They're just having fun poking at other people who don't have a clue.
If they're in the business, then they have a lot to learn about protecting and also respect.
I don't think they have anything to worry about protecting because I think there are too many people out there that have already tried to blow the concept of protecting the business. Look, I protect the world of professional wrestling. I protect this business. I protect this house. But by the same token, when I'm one person and even I can't outshout 20 people who are screwing it up. Not even on Facebook. Which I am slowly but surely moving away from. Are they playing bingo?
I mean, I think that I think the page itself, the purpose of it is probably a good thing, but I think the people that are running it are just trying to get their name over.
See, the thing about it is the people who run TBW don't even put themselves out there that much. They just make the post under the group name.
It's the same thing as any internet troll. It's not about that. It's about making sure people are talking about them.
Nah, okay. But like I said, I do believe that, and granted, okay, times are different financially for a lot of people. The dividing line between the middle class and the lower class and the upper class is much more pronounced, and the middle class is being pushed down, but I'm not going to get involved in politics here. I'll do that on my own time. But when people take that shortcut about buying sneakers and kick pads and everything else and try to pass it off as something that it's not, if you in the ring have a reputation of someone who understands and practices the martial arts, I'll let the kick pads and everything else go. But if you are trying to portray yourself as a straight ahead wrestler, I have a little bit of a problem with people not owning boots.
Oh, I agree. I think that there should be a designation for that. I think certain guys should have to be able to just wear their trunks and let that be that and stop trying to be something they're not. I completely agree with you there.
Well, you've heard my side of the coin on that one. What grabs the grub?
You mean as far as appearance?
No, about what's going on right now. What is really just stuck in your craw?
I gotta tell you, the thing that irritates me the most is money marks. We talked about it a little bit on Tuesday,
Yeah.
and the thing that drives me nuts is seeing promoters put themselves over. I went to an indie show years back, and that was just the last time I went to a huge indie show, and it was a pay-per-view, and the purpose of the show was for the promoter to go over on pay-per-view, like a legit pay-per-view. I could not believe it. It was ridiculous. But they still do it. I still read about it every single day where there's another guy not getting paid for his work, another guy who's gotten paid less than what he was told he would get paid, or another guy who's been put at risk because somebody who's not properly trained and not properly benefiting as far as what's needed. So it's alarming to me. It's a shame because in this industry, every single match counts. And it seems like there's a disconnect there. I look forward to seeing more matches like what we see on NXT Unstoppable because we see, the debut of Samoa Joe, which is a huge occurrence for them. And for Samoa Joe, it's a huge move for him, and I think that's great. That's how it ought to be. But we don't have enough of that in the wrestling world today because there's a lot of, I don't want to say jealousy. Maybe that's not really the word. It's just the ambition that's almost lacking because they don't want to take the right chances. They just want to make sure that their name is out there, and that's just ridiculous. It drives me nuts. I mean, I see a lot of performers who are putting their name out there for Tough Enough, but then at the same breath, they'll be posting in Facebook posts how they can't stand Tough Enough and how it's an insult to all of the hard workers of the business.
You're right, it is.
But if it's such an insult to the hard work of the business that these people are in, why are they sending their videos?
No, I thought you were making the reference to it being a double standard. That's why I was saying you're right, it is.
Right. Well, that's exactly what I was saying. And the thing that kills me in that is that these are the same guys that don't do anything different when they get booked on a show. They don't ever want to work with anybody different, so they don't want to learn anything different. They think that because they've spent 6 months to 8 months, maybe even a year in a training facility, that they have already been taught everything that there is to learn. And that's just silly. Any person in any line of work should know that you continuously learn. It doesn't change. And that's a big part of being a professional. It's a big part of being successful. Guys like CM Punk who are held in high esteem in both the wrestling world, but also now in MMA because he's so respectful. There's a reason for that. Now, that doesn't mean he's necessarily the nice guy. Probably not. I don't know the guy personally. I don't have any reason to say he is or isn't, but you hear enough stories, you start to wonder. Same thing can be said for some of the divas in the world. I mean, if you look at the stories going on about Tammy Sitch, every story we've ever heard is that she's a good person and a nice girl. But then, and I've met her personally. I know that she was pretty nice when I met her, but you see these stories like on TMZ where she's like, we're just trying to put pen to paper for this deal with Vivid. And, what did she do? She went on Facebook and then Twitter and said, no, I was never going to do that. But then she goes right back on TMZ saying, it's still negotiation. Well, which is it? Which is it that you're going to do? You're either going to lay down or not. I don't mean anything by that. I mean, if that's how she chooses to make a living, so be it. But just accept it. Own it. Say, that's how I choose to make a living. And if they can't do that, then they got no place in doing what they're doing. And it's not just wrestling, it's any business.
You're right, it is.
I tell you, when we look at examples of those that are doing it right, look at Bambi Weevil, who we talked to on Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
Really, just a stand-up gal, knows exactly what's needed to make a successful business, not just wrestling, but business in general. Drink twice.
Hey.
That's what she does, and she does it very well. She had a great event on Saturday. There was all sorts of conversation about it. It's making headlines on every single dirt sheet. That's how you know you're doing something right.
Oh, by the way, for the record, tonight's appearance of Fast Eddie Layne in the Beyond Ringside drinking game is actually brought to you by Minute Maid Ruby Red Grapefruit.
Having a little bit of trouble, are you? Trying to get everything regular?
No, I just like the flavor.
It's like a flavor of what?
The grapefruit juice.
But that's it?
Yeah, I just like the way it tastes.
Grapefruit juice.
I
you
like.
really are kind of an old man.
No, I love, dude. You forget. There's a lot of things I do drink. There's a lot of things I don't drink. On a day like today, I'd actually considered sitting back, making myself a Bacardi and Coke. Last night, had the opportunity. I decided to bypass on some of my other recreational forms of therapy and treating my glaucoma, and decided not to do that. It's not because I'm old or anything like that. It's just I wanted to save it for a rainy day, and guess what? It's raining today, and we're only doing an hour. And I do my work much better in post-production when I've been treating my glaucoma properly.
You got to make sure you properly self-medicate, sir.
Now, I'm sitting back watching Impact from this past week, live Slammiversary episode. They brought back the menagerie for a night, at least for a night, and I'm glad to see Crazy Steve back on TV. I like his character. It's
wasn't that 2014's Slammiversary?
Oh, it was?
Yeah, they another bonehead move. Re-aired a year-old pay-per-view that everybody already knows the results to.
Wow, I did not know this. I thought it was Slammiversary this year. I did not know it was last year's. That sucked.
Are you sure you're not treating your glaucoma at this point?
No, I'm positive. I haven't smoked in about 3 days.
Oh, wow. Good for you. Good for you. Really stretching it thin, aren't you?
No, I'm just taking my time. Just moving along. You'll forget about me after I've been gone.
A wise man takes their time.
No, that's true because Sonata's still X Division champion. Okay, never mind. Damn.
Yep. And it was a shame because it was a good card, but the sad thing is everybody already knows the results.
Well, screw that.
So why are they going to watch?
The hell with it. I'll go watch Smackdown.
Which, according to the results, was a really good show. I did not actually watch Smackdown.
I've got it on DVR, and before I go any further, before I get Smackdown started and get distracted, I am going to go ahead and say this. This past week, we celebrated, Wednesday night to be exact, the departure of an American standard, a legend in broadcasting and entertainment, and that's David Letterman. He left The Late Show, and unfortunately, his departure was nowhere near as hilarious as his advent. I expected so much from this show. I hoped for so much from this show, and was severely disappointed with a lot of it. Some of the pre-recorded stuff was really good, but some of the material that Dave ran live during the show just was not that great. And I think it's funny because everybody who went with the straight-up DVR timing on this just absolutely got screwed because the show pretty much ran an hour and a half. But I just, with all due respect, and he has earned respect for his longevity, 32 years. I think it was 12 on NBC and 20 over at CBS. I do appreciate the fact that his opening line for that show was, well, I guess I'm not getting the Tonight Show. No, wait, it's starting to look like I'm not going to get the Tonight Show. I thought that was hilarious. I thought that was funny.
He's always had a way of delivering in general. He was pretty valued. It was sad to see him sign off. I hope that when the next person steps up that they can at least try to fill those shoes, but boy, is that a huge void to fill.
I would kill to have that opportunity.
I think a lot of people would.
I would kill to have that opportunity. Now, I will also say this, and I have to give credit where credit is due, because in the waning moments of the show, he ultimately laid it out there, the fact that there was only one thing that he wanted for the final episode, other than the staff and everybody else to be able to enjoy what they had, and it's the fact that he wanted the Foo Fighters there. Well, his people got in touch with the Foo Fighters rep, and the Foo Fighters rep got back in touch and said it's not going to happen or it's going to be an impossibility due to the fact that they're performing dates in South Africa. And according to Dave, within 30 minutes, Foo Fighters people got back with his people and said they canceled the dates.
Oh, wow.
They'll be there. And they showed up. They showed up on the final episode of the Letterman Show, or the Late Show with David Letterman, and played in either suits or tuxedos. That, my friend, is class.
It's pretty cool.
And that is what I call being respectful and respectable.
Wow. Is that a segue you just did? I see what you did there. You brought that back around. Well done, sir.
Thank you.
Wow. An hour goes by really fast.
Yeah, it does.
Man.
Especially when you have topics that we can talk about.
That's true. When there's stuff to talk about, it makes it really easy. So here we'll go ahead and wrap it up. We do have to respect the time frame, and we're going to try to stick to this. We'll probably continue to do an hour just to keep things moving in a free-flowing, fast environment. If we have an interview or something of that effect, we may go a little further. We'll, of course, let you know ahead of time so you can plan accordingly, of course. But it seems to be that this is going to be the methodology going forward, the formula for success. So let's see here. Next week we are... I believe that's Elimination Chamber, am I right?
It certainly is. And actually, there were a couple of things I wanted to ask you about that. So tell you what, if you're brave, we can take a quick one for the top of the hour and come back and run one more segment and go over some of the items that are already being announced for Elimination Chamber, if you're up for it.
Sure. Let's go ahead and do the top of the hour break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the upcoming Elimination Chamber in our final segment of the evening.
The To Be Determined Show live Wednesday nights, 9 Central Standard Time. Join myself, the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, the Grand Design, Clyde Braddock, and the Magic City Monroe, Fast Eddie Layne, as we take you to the edge of uncensored. Yes, we go uncensored, so make sure you have your earmuffs. Ask your parents, for those of you that are a little young, maybe under 18, but make sure if you have any heart conditions or any mental defects, please listen, because they may take effect right here, live, every Wednesday night, 9 Central Standard Time. Beyond Ringside Radio Network, beyondringside.com.
Sunday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern here on beyondringside.com. Join us for the Midnight Black Mass. Myself, the Reverend Dan Wilson, brings you the dark gospel of professional wrestling, uncensored, unedited, uncut, and not for the faint of heart. You can find out more about us at youtube.com/pottyhumor or subscribe at Potty Humor on iTunes and Stitcher today.
And welcome back to WrestleRage Radio right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network, Beyond Ringside Radio app, and of course beyondringside.com. We're happy to have you back here. It's myself, Stan Grubb, Fast Eddie Layne, and yes, if you can hear him, he is there.
It's not really.
SmarkRage.
No, I'm not here. Not mentally here. I'm here, but I'm not mentally here.
Does that mean you might be actually...
You're never mentally here, but that's something. We'll give you a break. So we're talking about the Elimination Chamber coming back up a week away, this coming Sunday. Elimination Chamber, and of course the highlight thus far has to be Kevin Owens and John Cena. That is going to be a match for the ages. I can't wait to see that one.
You know what? I hope the stupid Canadian loses. The French Canadian at boot.
Wow. Really?
See, even your wife's laughing. She agrees with me.
No, that's not my wife.
Oh, okay. All righty then.
Stan is broadcasting live tonight from the Playboy Mansion.
So,
or the Teenage House of Terror.
Same damn thing. Now, actually, I'm going to throw to both of y'all on this. So I'm going to screw things up and take point for a hot second because I want to get y'all both on equal perspectives on this one. Corey, I'm going to go to you first. You made the reference to the fact that you hope the damn French Canadian loses. Now, what are you looking for out of this match, and why do you want Owens to lose so bad?
Just because he's a stupid French Canadian, and they're the worst. They're the worst, absolute worst kind of Canadians.
With the gimmick, okay? Can you just give an actual opinion? Or
give an actual opinion and not a gimmick,
right?
Not a gimmick. Okay. Here's what I'm looking for. Honestly, I'm looking for a hard fought fight. It's going to be a fight that. It's going to show what kind of muster Kevin Owens is made of. His first major WWE, and I'm not talking about NXT. I'm talking about first major WWE pay-per-view, and it's his time to shine. His time is now. To steal one of John Cena's lines, the guy's been in Ring of Honor and has done some stuff on the small stage. This is the big leagues, guys. This is WWE. This is what he's worked and fought for the last 15 years, and he's going with the 2015 game, the era of John Cena. He's got to step up. He's got to be ready to. He's got to be ready to carry the ball. This may be his one and only shot.
Okay, Stan.
That's a strong opinion. I agree. I mean, this is Kevin Owens' biggest opportunity of his career. I don't care what he did in Ring of Honor or any other place. If he does not step up to the plate and deliver in his match against Cena, he doesn't necessarily have to win. He does not necessarily have to go over.
No, of course not.
Right.
He doesn't need to go
step
over.
up. He's got to step up, and he's got to be in top form. And if he doesn't show up, if he doesn't show top form, it really will hurt his future. And he knows that. I mean, that's not a secret. I think everybody knows that. But it's time to see something like that happen, and I would look forward to him being the guy that really takes the role from John Cena.
You know, the other thing is, you know, here's John Cena. John Cena's been at the top of the mountain for the last 10 years, and you know, as you see the last 2 or 3 years, Cena really hasn't been on the top of the mountain as far as being the heavyweight champion, being quote unquote the face of the company, and it's starting to be possibly the changing of the guard. John Cena's 37. How many more years does this guy got to go? He makes a ton of money every year. He's been injured a lot within the past, 5 or 6 years. One more, we've talked about this before. One more major injury, and he may be done for good. But to put it back on Kevin Owens, 15 years experience on the independent scene. Well, that's all fine and well. You've main evented some gymnasiums. You've main evented some trailers. You haven't main evented the WWE pay-per-view. And next week, kid, it's your time, bro.
Yeah, you're right on that. I mean, it's not just that he's got to step up, but he's got to be able to deliver from this point, week in and week out. He's got to be able to deliver, and at a very, very high level. Cena, just like you pointed out, I mean, his next injury could be his last. I think he's probably nearing the end of his career anyway. Not to say it's injury related, but what else can he accomplish? So what if he breaks the record with Ric Flair? What does that really mean for him?
Well, you're right, but and what I was saying, it's not to knock Kevin Owens or Kevin Steen's credibility. The guy's done a bunch of stuff, but again, he's done it on a smaller scale. You get guys that talk about, oh well, I wrestled for Ring of Honor, and I've been on wrestling and I've wrestled on such and such TV, and I've been here and I've been here. WWE TV is way different than Ring of Honor TV. Yeah, being on TV is great. The spots. Eddie, jump in here. You're in the business.
I was waiting.
WWE's fast, doing those fast cuts, moving cameras every 3 to 4 seconds, and you've got to hit those spots. You got to be on. You got to be on the hard camera side the whole time. You got to know where you're going.
Now, let me go ahead and do this part. Number one, you made the reference to Cena having not been near the top in a while. Remember the fact that last year he held the WWE World Heavyweight Championship itself from June 29th of 2014 to April 17th of 2014. Oh my God, John Cena was a transitional champion. Amazing. Scary thought too. But go from there. It does matter. In my world, it does matter. Everything that he's done in ROH, PWG, AIW, every company that Kevin Steen has been a part of, because of the fact that it lays that groundwork down. John Cena, for the most part, has been primarily WWE. Because remember, he spent that time at, I believe it was OVW as the prototype, part of that vaunted class of 2000 whatever, alongside of Brock Lesnar and a couple others. So for Kevin Owens, everything leads to this moment right now. More so than it did for El Generico and Sami Zayn. More so than it has for Claudio Castagnoli, i.e. Cesaro. More so than it has for Xavier Woods, Austin Creed. Why? Because Kevin has been one of the most prolific characters in the indies. I hate that word still to this minute. WWE is the world's largest independent wrestling promotion. End of discussion. There is no territory. They tour.
That's a matter of opinion, sir. That is strictly what that is.
Look, Global Championship Wrestling has their base roster. WWE has their base roster. Ring of Honor, TNA, doesn't matter.
Okay, all right, let me just go ahead and put this nail in this coffin.
Go ahead. Bring it on.
When's the last time Global Championship Wrestling went to Dubai?
Is Dubai a territory?
When was
No. The question
what-
is, when did Global Championship Wrestling travel across the globe?
We don't have $1 million budget like Vince McMahon to be able to afford those tickets.
Exactly. When's the last time that Global Championship Wrestling aired?
When was the last time they got out of Pell City, Alabama?
Last year.
It's not a knock on the company.
No, I know it's not. I know it's not.
The company itself is top-notch talent. I'm not putting it down. But let's recognize it for what it is. You can't say that WWE's an indie fed. It doesn't work like that.
Yes, it does.
They've surpassed every possible level of success an indie fed could ever have.
Okay, so let me ask this question. Just because they make a 3-wheeled version of it, does that mean that Can-Am does not make motorcycles?
I think you're just trying to put a glossy spin on something where there's not even a comparison.
There's
talking
a huge
apples
comparison.
And oranges.
Okay.
Ring of Honor is an indie promotion. TNA was an indie promotion.
And
WWE, not an indie promotion.
It's an indie promotion because they do the same damn thing as Impact.
What?
Yes.
Yeah, except they do it first.
No, they do it with a bigger budget.
No, they do it first.
Look, the reason why...
I know that you don't necessarily like to put down TNA, and I respect that, but you've got to remember that TNA has been stealing. And remember, in the wrestling business, if you're stealing once, you're stealing twice.
At least.
Just blatantly ripping off storylines. The Beatdown Clan, what was that supposed to be?
Brovolution.
Thank you. And that was your word, by the way, not mine.
Thank you.
Okay? I mean, look, the product, does it get better in the ring from company to company? Sure, of course. But, I mean, come on, call a spade a spade. Don't sit there and say WWE's an indie fed, because now we know that that's just bias. And
no,
if
it's
your
not.
Opinion, I'll respect it. But
no,
if it's biased,
not.
Then don't try to put it out there.
No, WWE stopped being a territory when Vince Sr. passed away and Vince Jr. took it on tour. From the point
WWE is so much bigger than that. I mean, it bothers people, and I guess that's...
It doesn't bother me. I'm just calling it what it is. They don't
But
have
that's
a
not
territory.
what it is. You can't be worldwide and be independent fed.
Yes, you can.
No.
Yes,
no.
you can.
I don't know of any other fed out there, any other promotion out there that's truly global.
Look, okay, are you saying that Planet Earth is WWE's territory?
Yeah,
okay,
pretty much.
Then you can go ahead and run that, and everybody else is running Outlaw. We can go ahead and leave it at that. But
that's kind of what the world is right now.
What?
That's what it is right now. It makes promoters mad, but that's what this is right now. WWE is truly the top of the pack.
Well, you're right.
And there's not even anybody in the same zip code as them. So, yeah, pretty much every independent promotion out there is like an Outlaw fed in comparison.
I got no issue with that.
Now, does it mean that no one can ever compete? No, of course not, because that's just silly. Somebody ultimately will step up. Maybe not in the next 10 years, but somebody ultimately will step up.
And Vince will do everything he can to try to buy them.
Well, isn't that what any successful businessman does?
Yeah, that's how you screw the pooch, because look what happened when he bought at WCW.
Did he screw the pooch when he bought WCW, or was WCW dying a slow death?
WCW was dying a slow death, but by the same token, the fact of the matter stands, if he'd have played it right, he could have taken the Sci-Fi product or any other station that he could have gotten a hold of, kept WCW alive, to even make it look like WWE had competition. When you
there was no competition. That competition was 2 years old, 3 years old at that point. There was no point. There was no competition anymore.
When you take away the facet of having a competitive nature, you become stagnant. That is something we've talked about WWE for the longest time, the fact that their product became stale and stagnant.
And they also had Sean Stasiak in the WCW version of the WWE. So
they also had Buff Bagwell and Booker T in the worst main event in WCW history.
No, that would be Goldberg and Brock Lesnar.
That was not a WCW main event.
No, that was a WWE semi-main event, and that was absolutely horrible. But let me put this back in play real quick, and let me wrap up this little point. Everything that Kevin has done in Ring of Honor and every other promotion with which he has worked will be brought to the forefront and put on a worldwide stage through the network this coming Sunday.
God, there's so much bitterness in your voice when you say that.
No, because it's not available on traditional pay-per-view. Look,
it shouldn't be.
Yes, it should.
Shouldn't be. It's not your world they're living in. It's their world that we're in.
And that's the problem. They're not recognizing the fact that there's a world outside of theirs.
They shouldn't have to. They're too big.
Not as big as they used to be. How much money have they lost in the last 2 years?
Stop. We've had this conversation. Their stock prices are strong. They're not closing next month. You know what I mean?
No, they're not.
They didn't get a network that just called them up and said, hey, we're not renewing you in the fall.
Which, that's just
They
sad.
still make millions of dollars off of network television.
Their house shows still draw 10 to 12,000 people to 15,000 people and do 150,000 gates. So when independent wrestling companies start doing $100,000 gates, then you could talk.
And now you just brought up another valid point, because I'm going to go ahead and say this. The fact that WWE does something that I genuinely appreciate and respect, and that they don't even really acknowledge their competition. One of their social media people put out a little post one day that everybody decided to run with, going, which promotion do you watch most? ROH, Chikara, and all the other ones. You know something? That was the first time that they've ever acknowledged another promotion in that regard. They don't acknowledge TNA. They acknowledge WCW because of the Monday Night War. The fact of the matter stands.
Yeah, they didn't have a choice. They had to.
But I mean, they recognize WCW because, the Monday Night War DVD has made them, millions of dollars.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but wait a minute now. What he's alluding to is past tense, not present tense. He's talking about what they did before. They had to because, one, they lost them all of their top talent at one time to WCW and Eric Bischoff and Ted Turner's money, and two, they didn't have any choice. They were blatantly being, ridiculed on live television with their storylines. They were having title belts dropped in the trash can. I mean, they didn't have a choice. They had to acknowledge them.
But it also goes to, the guy with the biggest war chest wins the war. Okay? And,
I agree with that. Yeah, absolutely.
And I'll go as far as to say this. If Bob Carter, the owner of TNA, of Impact Wrestling,
Bob Carter,
the parent company of Panda Energy, if he was to open up his pocketbook strings and say, you know what, let's really invest and start running shows where we'll hire, somebody who could make us damn money, I guarantee you TNA could give WWE a run for their money.
They've already dumped money into it, and it didn't pan out.
But you dump money in on Hogan, who's a novelty act now at best. Hogan is somebody you parade around at WrestleMania, at WrestleMania Fan Access, at SummerSlam Fan Access, at Survivor Series. He's not a guy that you have as your staple product. Right. Kurt Angle is not a guy you have as your staple product. MVP, love MVP. One of my favorite people to talk to wrestling on Twitter, and love his sessions on YouTube. Is he the guy to put all the eggs in one basket? And this isn't a knock on him, but the guy's been around for 20, for 15 years. Is he a fresh face? Yeah. But do you build your company around the MVPs, around the Hulk Hogans? No, you want to build your talent around, what's his name? Davey Richards. I was trying to think of his, not call him by his real name. The Davey Richards, the young guys, the Kevin Owens. Look what NXT is. Look what Triple H is doing with NXT. And I know you guys are wanting to get out of here, but we're kind of on this little tangent here. Look at the NXT product. Look at the SmackDown product, and look at the Raw product.
NXT is better right now.
So is that a bad thing?
Right.
Yes.
That makes you laugh, but like that's WWE still. So,
but
still losing.
And that's what I was getting ready to say, because you could see who is booking NXT, you could see who is booking Raw and SmackDown. That's Triple H's baby.
Look,
okay.
Hey, real quick. John Cena keeps saying he's the face that runs the place. Stephanie McMahon's in charge of creative for the main shows, and so is Vince McMahon. I'm going to sit back and say it like this: Triple H, Regal, Pierce, Zombie Princess, Jimmy Jacobs, and Sarah Del Rey have been putting together a phenomenal effing product down at NXT. And the thing about it is, and what's pissing off the main roster right now, more than anything else, is they have taken a traditional grassroots approach to what the WWE does and hybrid it with professional wrestling. It's not sports entertainment. It's not this watered-down hullabaloo that you see on Monday and Friday nights, whatever night SmackDown is airing nowadays. I have it DVR'd. I don't pay attention. But what they've done at NXT is blowing the living couscous out of the main roster products. And the main roster is right now trying to grasp for straws to where they're trying to keep up with NXT.
And yet they're still doing 3.3, 3.4, and 3.5 in the ratings. And so something they're doing is working.
It should be higher.
And while we're on NXT...
Great. So it should be higher. Wait a minute. No, wait.
Should be higher.
Who cares if it should be higher? The fact is, it is still 3 to 4 million viewers watching every single week. As long as they've got that base, they don't need anything else. We're not talking about a grassroots campaign anymore. WWE is global. There is no other company out there that is truly global.
And while we're talking about NXT, I want to give a very big shout out to my good friend.
Oh, jeez. Stop.
You Nation.
Nation. Stop. He's not your good friend.
I've watched that guy since he was 6 months in the business.
I've watched a lot of different wrestlers. It doesn't mean they're my good buddy.
We're good buddies.
There's nothing good or buddies about you guys.
We're good buddies.
Real quick, let's do this. Who do you think's going to win? I'll put you on the prediction monitor right now. Cena versus Owens. Who goes over? Stan.
Cena goes over, but I'm predicting it's going to be some kind of dusty finish.
Ooh, did you just call that dusty finish?
Yes, sir.
Wow. SmarkRage.
Yeah, Cena's going to go over. It's going to be a fuck finish.
Damn. You were on such a good roll there, and you just had to take it right out of the water there.
Well,
I mean, there's not a whole lot of other directions they can go right now. If they really wanted to shake it up, and I think it could happen, they are prepping people on the website. You go to WWE.com. They've got a list of the most shocking John Cena defeats.
Here you go.
So they're prepping people.
Perfect example. Rusev, somehow gets in the cage and costs Cena the match, and Rusev gets his shine back.
It's not the cage match, though, so they're not worried about that.
Nope. Now,
it should be a cage match. That'd be cool, but not a cage match.
WWE World Heavyweight Championship match. Seth Rollins defends against Dean Ambrose. Corey.
Go ahead.
My heart says Dean Ambrose, but it's too soon for him to be in the title picture. He's still being groomed. He's nowhere near close to being WWE Championship material. And if any of you fangirls are listening, fight me. Fight me.
Shut up, jeez.
Come
you
at
talk
me.
too much. Shut up.
Come at me.
God, 1 minute we can't get you to talk, and then the next minute we can't get you to shut up.
It's a happy medium. We'll run it. Go with it.
Here's the thing. Dean Ambrose is definitely worthwhile, and he's a worthwhile champion, but I have to agree with Corey in this regard that he's not quite there yet, and the only reason for that is I think they're trying to figure out if they want him to be heel or face still, and they're still testing the waters on that, but it doesn't matter who wins this match because everybody wins watching it.
Agreed.
Nikki versus Paige versus Naomi. Triple threat for the Divas Championship. Stan.
Say that again. Nikki versus
Paige versus Naomi. Stan, you're up.
He said me first. Sucker!
I rotate. I'm going back and forth.
I'm going to say that it's going to be Paige, and it's going to be a Paige versus Naomi feud. This is setting up for the Bellas to be on their way out.
Corey.
Yeah, my heart says Paige, but I'd actually like to see Naomi get the strap. She's been busting her ass.
She's horrible.
She's stale.
Horrible. But of course, only you. I mean, you say you're a friend of Wuhan Nation.
You're a racist.
No, yeah, no, you are the racist, sir. I think we already know this.
Trust me, go look at her Instagram picture. You'll change your mind.
She's awful. Awful.
You're a racist.
She's Brie Bella awful. Brie mode.
You're a racist.
If your war cry is Brie mode and your name is Brie, does that mean that you're not being yourself for the first half of the freaking match?
Boo, you can't take my lines.
Dude, I'm the one who said it last week.
I said it on Tuesday. You just totally stole my stuff.
No, I have it on air. I have said this. Quit trying to steal my stuff.
You're stealing my stuff, sir. You're Eddie Laning all over my stuff.
Oh, well, at least I'm not SmarkRaging it.
Oh, thank God for that.
There you go.
Thank God for that. And look at the time. Saved by the bell.
Sorry, we didn't even talk about the 2 chamber matches.
Oh, man.
Hold on real quick. We'll squeeze these other 2 in. By the way, for the record, I see Paige going over. If Naomi goes over, we riot. Actually, if Naomi goes over, I won't know about it because I'll be outside smoking a cigarette.
You're a dick. And I hope Robert Cosper hit you with another fucking chair.
That was Micah Taylor that hit me with an effing chair, not Robert Cosper. Cosper ain't smart enough to swing a chair.
Well,
as I understand it, Cosper's still picking up his teeth from the last time him and Wicked Nemesis saw each other.
Yeah, damn right. First ever tag team chamber match. It will be Cesaro and Kid. New Day, the tag champions. The primetime players. Los Matadores, the Ascension, and the Lucha Dragons. Corey, you're up.
I'm going for Cesaro and Kid to go over. I really like those boys. You know, I met
because you're racist and don't want the New Day to have the titles.
I met Tyson Kidd at WrestleMania 27. We've been pretty good friends ever since. So.
We've been bonding. We talk about cats every day.
Notice he doesn't want. Notice he's racist.
Listen, he lets me tickle his daddy's pussy. So.
Oh God!
Oh, God! Stop it! Don't. You know.
I tickle her kitty.
Whatever. You're just
fluffy.
awful. You're not funny. You're just awful.
It's fluffy.
You're funny looking. That's about it.
It's fluffy. Her kitty's
anyway,
fluffy.
So who do you pick? You said Cesaro and
I'll fix this in post. Okay, Stan, you're up.
Why no? Don't fix it. Whoa. No.
Yeah. See, the girls are laughing at you because you're stupid.
SmarkRage doesn't get edited.
It should be edited out. It should just be Rage, but you don't have any because you're all lost. But oh well, whatever.
I ate a Snickers. Damn it.
I'm gonna say that I would like to see the Lucha Dragons win it because I just tag team.
No, go back south of the border, Chico.
My gut tells me that and who's a racist? My gut tells me that most likely it'll be the Ascension or it'll be New Day.
I'm going
against the heel champion coming out.
Right now, I need Andrew Perloff and Dan Patrick to hit the music for Against the Grain because I'm going to sit back and say they have set this up so beautifully right now to where you can actually have what's going to look like on paper something totally out of the ordinary. I'm taking the primetime players on this one. I am glad to see them back together again. I thought it was a travesty that Vince split them up. I am just absolutely ecstatic of the fact of seeing Mr. No Days Off and the Gator all over again. I think these two are a great tag team, and I think
they're Darren Young and Heath Slater?
No, the Gator.
Oh, that's not Slater.
Wait, hold on 1 second. Stan's a Christian. His gaydar is terrible.
Actually, that was funny.
That was awful.
That was actually funny. Hold on.
Maybe never actually talking again would be a
you know, speaking about Christians,
you can follow Corey at SmarkRage, all caps on
Twitter. You missed the other Elimination Chamber.
SmarkRage on Facebook. Of course, WrestleRage Radio is on Facebook as well.
Can we talk about the Duggars?
This is Stan Grubb on Twitter, and of course, at Fast Eddie Layne on Twitter as well. Thanks so much, everybody.
No. Can we talk about the Duggars molesting that little kid and being hypocrites, or is that for your Christian show?
No.
Is that going to be for your Christian blog talk show?
Talk all about it, buddy. What do you got? I mean, you're so incredibly informed. Please give us your information.
So I don't know. This is WrestleRage. This ain't Molest Me Rage.
That's not what I heard.
That's what he says at 3:00 in the morning when he's watching the Showtime channel.
No, don't touch me. I don't get backstage that bad.
Real quick, before we go, Elimination Chamber for the Intercontinental Championship, which has been vacated. R-Truth, Sheamus, King Barrett, Ryback, Ziggler, and Rusev. Stan, you're up.
Put the strap. Oh, God, you're up. I'm sorry. Go ahead, buddy.
I would say the smart money is put it on Barrett or Sheamus.
Corey.
Put the strap on Ziggler.
I say put the belt on Rusev just for shits and giggles.
It's a strap, not a belt.
Corey likes to strap on.
Yeah, he does. There's that Gator thing again.
Strap off. Oh, that's the clapper. Excuse me.
No, it's the strapper.
Thank you.
That's what you call it. I've heard you.
Yes, Corey's now an honorary member of the American Males. He gets the clap every chance he gets.
So
I'm actually. We're talking to you, brother.
I'm actually booty clapping right now as we speak.
Corey is twerking.
Oh, that's nasty.
He is twerk rage.
Oh, I just threw up in my mouth a little bit.
So did I, actually, and I'm the one who said it. Okay. Let's take it out. Shameless plugs. Tell you what, let's do it the old school way. Stan Grubb, last call.
When you have a show as fast-paced and exciting as this one, there's really only so much you can say. But hey, remember, spay all your pets and neuter your pets as well, because if you don't, they'll turn out like SmarkRage.
Corey, last call.
Hey, this is SmarkRage live on WrestleRage Radio. Get ready to feel the rage. Follow me on Twitter, SmarkRage all caps. WrestleRage Radio on Facebook. The SmarkRage on Facebook. Fast Eddie Layne Pow on Facebook. Fast Eddie Layne on Facebook. Speaking about Facebook, Stan, have you added anybody's mother on Facebook lately?
Only yours.
She's dead, but you can add. I'll reactivate her profile.
We communicate every week, buddy.
I'll reactivate her Facebook page so you guys can communicate.
Apparently that just weirds people out. I don't understand.
So, I don't know.
I can't believe you brought that up.
Well, why? It was tweeted about. Anything on Twitter. Anything on Twitter.
Shut up. You're done talking. Corey's done.
You're going to go look at his Twitter box.
Twitter rage.
Quick reminder, folks, be sure to keep your eyes open on the media page at BeyondRingside.com and BeyondRingside.com itself. For me personally, Fast Eddie Layne, LAYNE.com.
You know what, and I don't know if you boys talked about this, and before we go, all sincerity, all seriousness, there's been a couple of pictures of Bobby the Brain Heenan going around Twitter today.
Why bring that up, bro?
I'm going to bring it up because Bobby Heenan is a fighter. He's been kicking cancer's ass for almost 10 years now. Yeah. He just had a successful jaw surgery, and they're going to try to reconstruct his jaw. Saw a good picture with him and Bruce Prichard, him and Roddy Piper.
Yes.
Him and Piper and the $1 Million Band. And as I'm sitting there telling this, getting goosebumps. Remember watching him at Madison Square Garden, thinking about his Hall of Fame speech when he was talking about how he misses Gorilla Monsoon, and he got broken up about it. Bobby Heenan is and was the best wrestling manager in the world of pro wrestling, and Paul Heyman's a close second.
And while we're on moments like this, I'm going to go ahead and say this. A lot of people know I'm here domestically in the lower 48 and across the country. We are celebrating tomorrow as Memorial Day. There are people who get to go to work. There are people who get to have the day off. My hat is off to everybody who does get the day off tomorrow, because I'd damn sure like to have it myself. But the reason behind it all is the fact that we respect those who fought valiantly and paid the ultimate price in the defense of this country in which we live, in the United States of America. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, National Guard, all of the above and then some. And I'm also going to extend that one step further, and I'm going to sit back and say to our first responders, I thank you so much for everything y'all do. The police force, the fire department, medical teams, doctors and nurses, and everybody in between. I mean, I appreciate and respect everything that's done here domestically as well as abroad through our military, because our military's taking a hard knock right now. They're being downsized to pre-World War I levels, which is really a pain in the ass for me, because my father is a Marine who served 2 tours of Korea, and he still tells me about a lot of the things that have happened over there. 84 years old and still has the heart of a Marine. He is a 3-time survivor of cancer, and I know this much. I'll never be half the man that my father was. In my best day, I won't be half the man that my father was, because he was a much stronger individual than I, and I will say that honestly. But to those who went before, and I know to those who went before in our military and have paid the ultimate price, that price was not paid in vain, because I speak on behalf of citizens who are prepared to stand up and fight at the drop of a hat. We have your spirit. because we know what this country was built on. We know what this country should stand for, and we do not lose sight. We do not lose focus, and we do not lose heart. If nothing else, our resolve becomes that much stronger every day, and we will fight for this country now, just like you fought for it then. Also, before this past Thursday, if you missed it, National Red Nose Day. I want to thank I meant to put the video up, and I never did, and that's my fault. In case you don't know what it was, a number of companies teamed up with Comic Relief and sold red clown noses for $1 each. Walgreens especially was a national on this one. And 50 cents out of every dollar that was spent on those red noses is donated by Comic Relief to projects across the country that help with homelessness and help get kids out of a homeless scenario. So I want to thank everybody who bought the red noses. I got mine sitting on the desk right over here. And if this wasn't radio, I'd actually put the damn thing on as we go out.
Wait, you mean I had a chance to spend $1 and act like a fool and nobody told me?
True.
Yeah, but you act like a fool for free.
That's true. You know, and when somebody said like it was Red Nose Wednesday, I didn't know this was the 80s and cocaine was back in style.
There you go. No, it was actually Thursday.
Oh, well, you know.
Yeah, but like I said, for everybody, and I just want to say it like this, I bought 2 actually. One stayed in the car and one stayed here in studio. One still wrapped up. And I just, like I said, when I saw the opportunity, it's like, and I read the way things are going, and it's like 50 cents out of every dollar. I dare any so-called charity out there to say that they actually put 50 cents of every dollar toward something that matters, whether it be research and development or helping to formulate a cure for something, because I'm going to be a jerk for a minute, because I know that for as much good as JDF has done, they don't put that much into it. For as good as the American Cancer Society is, they don't put that much into it. And a number of different so-called charity organizations, they end up keeping so much money and writing it off as administrative expenses. That's why I have a hard time backing just about any charity. But Comic Relief has always been there. They've done it the right way, and they've shown it on paper, and they've shown their math. And I appreciate them for that. For everything that they do to try to help with the homeless, it is appreciated, and I respect the hell out of them for it.
So you mean you don't support Susan G. Komen then? Because they're the biggest they're the biggest thieves when it comes to donating money. How they keep a lot of the donations for administration fees.
If they show the fact that they actually put over half or more of their money into where it's supposed to go, and that's in research and development, not in marketing and administration, I'll stand behind them any day of the week. But but you just said it yourself that a lot of it has been shown the fact that they do put a lot into administrative and marketing, and that's not helping. That's just helping the company. That's not helping the victims.
And that's why it leaves a bad taste in my mouth, and that's why it's hard to donate money to some of these charities.
I do my homework before. That's why when I remember we did the Ice Bucket Challenge, kids.
We did.
I did my homework on ALS and the main branch of that fun scrappy doodle dandy. I did a lot of homework before I ever signed on to do, because I wanted to make sure that the money that I was donating was going to the right way.
Absolutely.
And not just the New Day. Stan, we've been talking. You take us out.
With that, hey, thanks very much for all of our veterans for protecting our freedom. We definitely appreciate everything you've done and continue to do worldwide and all over for everybody. So thank you so much. Guys, have a great night. Next week is, of course, the Elimination Chamber. We will see you then, right here on WrestleRage Radio on Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
After?
On BeyondRingside.com.
After?
Feel the rage.
Real quick, before we go, you did say after the Elimination Chamber, right?
Yes.
Okay, Corey, say it again.
Feel the rage, yeah!
Or the age.
No, for me it'd be Feel the Age.
Yeah, Corey, it's Feel.